And Lights Out is available now in theaters, on digital, and demand. Our radio audience is back with our Roku channel audience. We just saw a clip of Lights Out, which is, again, as I mentioned, available on demand, on digital, and right now in theaters near you. One of the stars, Mekhi Phifer, is here. Great cast with Frank Grillo, Jamie King, and Dermot Mulroney right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, man, good to see you. Always.
Did you jump into this fight scene to sort of investigate what you would need to know about this character? Yeah. But this character?
Oh, no, this character. Well, I've always been a fight fan. You know, MMA, boxing, even when UFC was in its infancy, before they had even weight classes. When a 600-pound guy could fight a guy 185 pounds, people could be in there with their shoes on. And, it was a whole thing. The rules were still sketchy.
Yeah.
But so I didn't really have to do a whole bunch of research on the underground aspect of it.
Yeah.
I get the underground aspect. I get the betting aspect. I get how people make their money, the odds, and all of that kind of stuff. It's pretty straightforward. But what I do with each character that I portray is I just try to just find what motivates them, what makes them interesting, and what humanizes them. I don't play good guys or bad guys. I play human beings that have made certain choices and have had certain experiences that have shaped their lives. So in this movie, Frank and I are not necessarily good guys, but we're kind of like anti-heroes, if you will. We're guys that are not necessarily doing good, but we're better than the worst guys. And you want to empathize with their journey and hopefully see them have a positive outcome.
Yeah, and again, like I said, Frank's been here before, and I'm thrilled
I love Frank.
that you're here too.
Frank is my guy.
And Lights Out is available now in theaters, on digital, and demand. So you're from Harlem.
From Harlem.
Okay, so are you Knicks, Yankees?
Okay.
What are you like? What's your through line here?
Well,
New York sports. What
Knicks. I fell off the wagon after '90s, early 2000. It was tough. That was a tough road a tough torch to carry.
Yep.
The Knicks are doing well now.
They're
doing very well. They made playoffs last year. I'm liking their trajectory.
Okay.
So I loved it. Now it's not that I went to somebody else. It was just tough being a Knicks fan. It's not like I went to the Lakers or I went to the Clippers. It wasn't that. I just was like, come on, guys, we're in New York. It's supposed to be the greatest city in the world,
yes,
and
sir.
Our teams suck. What's going on? But I've always been a Yankees. Back in the late '80s, early '90s, I was more Mets, the bad boys of baseball.
Sure. Strawberry Gooden.
I mean, you couldn't beat those guys. I mean, those guys were tough.
Keith Hernandez.
Yeah, exactly. They would, and if one got into a fight, they all came out of the dugout, and it was mayhem.
And then Gary Carter was the Captain America of this whole thing.
Exactly.
Right.
But I'm always rooting for New York teams. Always.
Right. Okay.
I root for the Giants. I mean, Jets are tough. The Giants are tough, right? I mean,
the Jets are a bridge too far for you.
I mean, and the funny thing
bridge
is
and tunnel too far. The Jets.
It's a tough one.
Sure.
They give you a hard way to go. But I love watching the Hard Knocks. Training camps.
Sure.
I love seeing the preseason and even the midseason because I really get to kind of get into who these players are, even the players that don't have the big names and, people that are trying to come up.
Yeah.
And so you wind up kind of rooting for them because you feel like you get to know them.
Yeah, sure.
But they can be disappointing. But, hopefully we'll see, a brighter day.
Okay. Mekhi Phifer here on the Rich Eisen Show. That's a diehard Celtic fan over there. Tell him who you saw in the Bahamas on Friday.
Oh, man, I saw Tatum. We were hanging out, man. In the Bahamas. I was there with my wife and bumped into him at a club in the hotel.
Okay.
And we chopped it up. I rooted for him. I said, "Yo, man, I'm rooting for you in the All-Star game." Mm-hmm. And life was good.
So he left his defense in the Bahamas? What you're saying?
I think everybody left their defense in the Bahamas.
I think so, right?
Look, I love the games where it's really challenging. It's interesting because when I was growing up, the East versus West was a serious.
Hell yeah.
When Kobe was there, even before Kobe. I mean, it was when Ewing and Jordan. I mean, Dominique Wilkins. I mean, Spud Webb, whatever.
Yes.
That was a real rivalry. Isaiah Thomas. I mean, that was real. People wanted to win, and
everybody wanted to beat Isaiah.
Oh, I know. I mean, but hey, man, and that's what I loved about it. And people, you couldn't just go through the paint and score and make a layup, and now it's like a 3-point contest / let them make a layup. Nobody touches them. Everybody's walking. What is that? Why? What's this 4 and 5 steps nonsense? Like, growing up, I played a lot of ball.
Okay.
Being a New Yorker, so I was always at the Rucker. I was a part of many teams, the Yes tournaments, Douglas tournaments, all of the contests in school, everything. And two steps. That's it. I don't get the 3-4 steps. Well, I just don't get it. The double dribbles, when you come off the pivot, that's a walk.
It's called a Euro step, actually.
Man, we're not in Europe. We are in the United States of America, damn it, and I wanted to stay that way.
Who did you see play at Rucker? Who did you see?
Oh, man, everybody. Rafer, Skip to Malou, Escalade. I mean, all of them, the Professor, all of those cats, man. I mean, all of the dudes that played great street ball. Rafer made it out, obviously. But man, that was some of the most dynamic ball playing.
What was that like? I mean, what was that like?
Man, it was awesome, man. And I knew the guys that sort of ran the Rucker. Uh-huh. So we would come with our own little chairs, that you get from a sporting goods store or whatever, and they would let us just sit right there on the ground and with our chairs, and then you had my man on the mic who always gave people nicknames, and the people climbing, they'd be on the fence, just stuck on the fence watching the games on the roofs of the school. There's nothing like the Rucker. There's nothing like the Rucker. I mean, nothing like it.
Mekhi Phifer here on the Rich Eisen Show. It's time. You want to do some celebrity true or false?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Let's do it. And
like
again,
that.
as always, we're very proud on the Rich Eisen Show of our production value. Hit it.
Celebrity true or false?
True or false?
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, there we go. All right, Mekhi Phifer, celebrity true or false.
Yes.
First up, true or false? You had never taken an acting class before landing the starring role in Clockers with Spike Lee, and you went to the audition on a lark, only with a small passport photo instead of a headshot.
That is absolutely unequivocally true.
Really?
Absolutely true.
What happened?
Well, I was going to college for electrical engineering, and I was a big math guy, the calculus, the whole thing. Because while I went to Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics in high school, and while I was in high school, I went to Columbia University as well to take college credits. And I went to an open casting call with my cousin, who I talked about with you earlier, my cousin Sly Phifer. And we didn't have, they said you had to bring a picture, because what happened was Spike Lee was doing this open casting call. He was looking for the new lead in his new movie, but he wanted an unknown. So he did all of these open casting calls in like Philly and LA and New York. It was in the paper, on the radio. And they said you had to bring in a picture, like a 8x10, like a normal headshot. I didn't have any headshots. What I know about all I had was family photos. So the only photo we could get and the only thing that we could afford, I think between me and Sly, we had $4 between us. So we went to Woolworth to get the passport photos. And it cost $3, and you got 3 pictures. And we put the $3 in the machine, and I sat in there, took the picture, and then he ran in and took the next picture, and then we took the last picture together. And so it was these little photos. And we brought them down to the where they were holding the open casting call, and I filled out a data sheet, and I sat there, and then one of the casting associates asked me to sign my name, and then long story short, they asked me to come down to the audition, which I did. They didn't call me back for 4 weeks. I went about my business. They called me back. They said, come back. And then when I came back, Spike was in the room.
Oh, boy.
And he said, okay. And the Spike is playing. Spike is cool.
Right.
Spike is cool. So.
But he's still Spike.
He's still Spike.
Right.
And so he didn't give me much. He was like, okay, let me see you do it again. So I was nervous as hell. I didn't have any water or chapstick or gum. You know, I was wet behind the ears, and I'd never auditioned for anything before. And then I did the scene. He said, okay, this is good. Come back on Monday. Okay, and then I did that. And then he said, okay, that was good. Come back on Wednesday. He just kept giving me different scenes. And then all of a sudden I had to read with Isaiah Washington and do improvisations. And then he said, okay, that's good. Come back again. Then I had to read with Harvey Keitel doing improvisations. Wow. And the funny thing is, I didn't even know who the hell Harvey Keitel was. I wasn't intimidated at all. I was like, who's this old dude? You know, at this point, I didn't know who he was. I hadn't seen, you know, Mean Streets or any of that stuff. I hadn't seen that. Yeah. I wasn't a movie buff then. And so I just did it. I was like, okay, you got me reading with this guy, you know. And then ultimately, I know, but it's Harvey Keitel. I mean, he's, you know, now I see his body of work and it's like, what were you talking about?
Sure.
But I wasn't in the film business. And then lo and behold, I came back the last time. This is like my 8th audition. And I come to 375 Greenwich, where, you know, which is owned by, I think, Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal. And I come up there and Spike is downstairs. He has a limo downstairs, but he's talking to Jane Rosenthal, who I didn't know either at the time, who was Robert De Niro's producing partner. And I think they own Tribeca together, the film festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking I'm going upstairs, and he's like, no, don't go upstairs. You know, wait. And he brings me in the car, and I'm like, you know, what's going on? I'm ready to audition. And he's like, no, I just want to let you know you got the role. You know, and he gave me, and I was like, it was like, you know, mind blowing.
And then now you're in a movie with Keitel and Totoro and Spike's directing you.
And Delroy Lindo and this and that.
Oh,
my God.
Delroy Lindo, I forgot about him. Oh, I love him.
Yes.
Wow, what a story. Next up, Mekhi Phifer, true or false? You almost turned down the role of Future in 8 Mile because you were just cast in ER.
I did. That's
you did turn it down, or you did?
I listen to my agents. I turned it down, and then they were like, "No, you're not turning this down," because I was due to start ER. I was really looking
for. ER was already ER at that point.
Yeah, ER was already a mega show, and I was joining at the end of season 8, the last couple of episodes of season 8, and I really wanted to play a doctor. And ER had won all the Golden Globes, the Emmys, the this and that. It was ER, and 9/11 had just happened, so nobody, you know, people were scared to fly, as everybody was. You know, I'm a New Yorker. I saw what happened to the towers. You know, so. They said, look, it's Curtis Hanson, who I did know his work, L.A. Confidential and Wonder Boys and all of that. Great director, rest in peace. They flew me out to Detroit, and I met with Eminem. And we spent a few days together and chopped it up.
What was that like?
It was great, man. It was great. We hit it off, I mean, immediately. And I saw how serious he was. The script was, they didn't give me the script. I had to read the script in Curtis's office because they were being so hush-hush about it. I loved it, but it wasn't what you see on screen. But I knew I could bring a nuance to it and something, you know, different, a certain energy, a certain spirit. So then ER, John Wells, who was, you know, King John Wells.
Yes.
He said, you know what, go do the movie, and as soon as you finish the movie, you come and start ER.
And then that green lights the whole thing.
I wrapped the movie, and then a week later, I was on the set of ER.
You went from 8 Mile to ER.
To ER.
Within a week.
It's crazy, but I'm glad I did it. I mean, sure. You know, Eminem threw my name in the song and won an Oscar. I mean, it's one of the most popular downloaded songs ever.
Well, that was my next one. Is it true that he completely surprised you by including your name in Lose Yourself?
That is true.
How did you learn that you were in the song?
We were shooting one day. Eminem had 3 trailers. He had his trailer for, you know, him to sleep and stuff like that. Then he had a studio trailer that, because he was doing his album and the soundtrack at the same time, and he had a gym trailer. So we would go in between takes and work out or whatever. And around 2 a.m, we were shooting one night, and he came back to the set. He said, "Yo, Mekhi, after this take, I want to take you to the studio. I'll put your name in the song." And so the whole crew, we all went to the to the trailer, and he played the song, and it was raw. It wasn't mastered. It wasn't mixed yet. And we got to the part, and there's no movie. There's no Mekhi Phifer, and everybody erupted. And but I didn't know it was going to be. Listen, I didn't know 8 Mile was going to be 8 Mile.
Sure.
You know, you never know, and I didn't know the song was going to, you know, be as impactful.
Well, I mean, Brockman was with me. Chris was with me when I was the honorary captain of the Michigan Wolverines one year. 2016 it was.
2016.
And Jim Harbaugh, the coach at the time, let us be with the team the entire weekend. And they had a choice. I forget what the other choice of the film was the night before the game. But that lost immediately to 8 Mile. He showed 8 Mile to the team the night before they destroyed Central Florida, and the team was just locked in. Because it is iconic, and it is something that will in fact live forever.
Yeah.
But so were you just like, wait a minute, was that my name? Like when you heard it?
I mean, he did preempt me, so it wasn't like, hey, I just want you to hear this song and listen to this. But he did say, I put your name in the song. I hope that's cool. And I was like, hell yeah, it's cool. Because back then, Eminem was crushing people when, he was killing people. If he put your name in a song, usually it's not good. I mean, he ends your career, he smack you around with his lyrics. So I was very proud of that and very appreciative of him making me a part of that in a bigger way than was initially, it was going to be. So.
And it is true the final rap scene was totally ad-libbed, right?
My stuff was totally ad-libbed.
Your stuff too.
My stuff on the stage, all of the stuff that I said, because that wasn't in the script.
Okay.
So all of the stuff, all of my instructions to the rappers, all of my audience participation stuff, all of that was all ad-lib. They wrote their rhymes because they had to have the rhymes written. Because for continuity,
so plot reasons
so they can change the camera angles and things like that.
Okay, I see.
But my stuff was totally ad lib. So all of that, all DJ spin that, all of that kind of stuff, all of that was just. And the reason I say DJ spin that is because I forgot the guy's name. so I didn't call him by a name. That's why I say DJ spin that. Because I forgot the guy's name. And so after we got one or two takes, I couldn't start saying his name. So it just had to be. DJ, spin that,
What was his name? Do you remember?
I don't remember his name. But he's a good DJ. He's a very good DJ.
How do we know?
Detroit, shouts to Detroit, and I'm sure he's a favorite in Detroit.
I'm pretty sure the DJ was in a movie called The Salton Sea with Val Kilmer.
He might have been.
So that's just a little side to that.
So we can Google him.
Let's Google him, and then I'll know his name.
All right, last one for you, and then I'll let you go. Mekhi Phifer, is it true or false? Fans still approach you on the street about how your ER character, Greg Pratt's death, affected them, and you suggested to ER producers prior to the show final season about your character.
Yeah. See, yes, people still to this day. I was right before the strike. I was shooting a movie in Bogota, Colombia.
Wow. So
and
there too.
This is another great destination, but it was wild. But yeah, people still talk about it. They still were affected by it. My mother, I was in Los Angeles on the West Coast. My mother was in the East Coast, and when that episode aired, my mother called me because, obviously she saw the show before I saw it.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I knew what happened, and she called me crying like somebody died in the family. Like with the, and I said, Mom, what's the matter? And she was like, Dr. Pratt died, and so she was it was impactful. And, but what I was due to start, I was getting ready to start Broadway. And I knew that season 15 was going to be the last season. And I'd rather go out with a bang than just sort of just leave the hospital. It was a great episode with Steve Buscemi, and it was impactful, and so people still talk about it to this day, and I appreciate everybody and their viewership.
So the way you made your mom stop crying is like, Mom, I'm going to Broadway.
Mom, I'm on the phone with you. I'm on the phone.
That's number one.
I'm here, but she was very proud because
of course
she loved seeing me on television every Thursday. So she taped every episode, and you couldn't talk to her while the show was on.
I love that.
And that's what I love about television. It's like, you know, you can be in somebody's home every week.
I know that, and you can say hello to my mother right now. I think she's watching on her Roku.
Mom, how you doing?
Mom, Mekhi says hi. At Mekhi from Harlem on Instagram. Lights Out, available in theaters on digital and demand. Let's do this on the regular if you're
please,
you're up for it.
Rich. You know I got nothing but love for you, man.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Always, and all you guys, man. You guys are awesome. So very happy to be here.
All right. Okay. TJ, hit it.
DJ, spin that.
Spin that.
And these cats get a minute and a half.
Before you go, years ago, probably like 2004, I was asked to do a USC student film by a guy named Mike Mallet.
Oh, actually, hold it. Let's do this because we got to take a break. We'll come back. Mekhi Phifer still here.
Still here.
He and TJ chopping it up figuratively and literally about having the same.
We have the same barber.
Yeah.
Benny Blades.
See, there's a quote growing up.
Yeah.
If my line ain't right, my mind ain't right. I got to have my line right to have my mind right.
Understood.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. You know, and he had, you know, you got to look right when you come on the Rich Eisen Show.
No, but trust me, I know.
Well, I wish I had a line.
We'll get Benny in here. Don't worry. You're doing just fine, though.
I appreciate. No, I needed that. Thanks,
You're doing just fine.
And you know, TJ used to be a producer on Punk'd.
Oh, he did?
And he was a producer on a particular episode.
On one of you on my episode?
I was a producer on your
That was fun.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it in a while till yesterday.
That was fun.
We did. So we got you coming out the gym, right? That was
no. Actually, I was at paintball.
Paintball. Okay,
I was with the crew and cast of VR.
Okay.
We used to go as a unit in paintball, and they called me. With the Punk'd, like they pretend somebody broke my window to my truck, and I really love this truck because I did all kind of modifications to it. And the guy, they made it seem like he broke into my truck, and then the cops came and then they tried to make it seem like I hadn't paid this ticket. This $1,000 ticket, and I was like, "What are you talking about? I paid that ticket because what it was, I got caught speeding coming from Vegas.
Wow! So they really
I was going over 100 miles an hour.
You went deep on him.
So I got a $1,000 ticket. So I had to go back to Barstow to pay the ticket, which I did. I went back to Barstow, paid the ticket. Everything was love, and so I had cleared that up. So they brought it back up and made it seem like I didn't pay the ticket.
Damn,
and they were being extremely disrespectful.
It's called
in their verbiage.
It's called being
They were right. They were being
fantastic. Wow!
And they were naming movies that I had been in, but I didn't catch it because I was getting pissed off.
This is when you're on Punk'd.
They was like, "Yeah, you went about 8 miles ago, and your ticket's not paid in full."
Nice.
You know, that was the whole thing.
Nice.
So, Mekhi, do you know who the guy was? Who the robber was?
He was just. Who was that?
It was Daniel Tosh.
Really?
The now comedian.
Yeah.
That was, I believe that was his
He's
first.
funny.
I think that was his first time on camera, if I'm not mistaken.
He was funny.
Yeah, so he
Tosh.0.
Tosh.0.
That's
And we also
right.
had Whitney Cummings in it. If you
Look
know
at
Whitney.
that, some very funny
Holy
comedians.
snap. Yeah.
Whitney was really good at getting a line that MTV wanted for the promo. So she came up to you at one point and said, because he stole your wallet, and she's like, "Do you need to borrow money?" And you just looked at her, it's like, "I'm rich, baby."
Look, I'm
And
making a lot of money on this show. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm
rich,
on
baby.
Believe me, these checks are coming in steady.
I
I'm
found
okay. Just leave me
the whole
alone.
clip on YouTube. I'm going to post it.
I'm so glad Mekhi Phifer stuck around. I'm at the Rich Eisen Show desk, furnished by Granger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Granger has the right product for you. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. I'm just thrilled that you came by.
Oh, man,
we could fill a whole hour talking about it.
We can go on and on, but I'll be back. This movie is just one of 4 that I have coming out this year. So
Look at you,
I'll be
man.
back.
Damn, including the one that you shot in Bogota. That one,
Including the one I shot in
Now,
Bogota.
did somebody come up to you and talk ER with you in Colombia? Is that what you said?
Absolutely. People talk about it, and people have come up to me from Argentina, all over. And when I was in London, when I was in Cape Town, Africa. They talked to me about ER, paid in full, 8 Mile, soul food, this Christmas. It goes on and on. You know how it is. I mean, when you create a body of work, it's a blessing. I've been doing this for 3 decades now.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing to be able to have the body of work and to be recognized for it.
thank
So I'm
goodness.
very humbled and I feel blessed.
Thank
about
goodness
that.
Woolworth had the passport photo
I'm
booth.
thank goodness.
I love that story.
Shout out to Woolworth.
I love that story that you probably might not have performed as well as you did to get that role if you knew who Harvey Keitel was. You know what I mean?
Maybe
like
not.
sometimes it's
if it was Robert De Niro instead of Robert De Niro was actually supposed to play that role, and that's why Martin Scorsese, he was supposed to direct Clockers, but he opted to direct Casino. So while we were shooting Clockers, they were shooting Casino, and Robert De Niro was supposed to play Harvey's role, and Martin was supposed to direct the movie, and now so Martin wound up executive producing the movie, and Spike Lee directed it. Jeez. And that's how that happened.
And then again, it's just like that sports. Sometimes a team doesn't know what it should know, and they wind up winning the championship.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like
it's Kismet.
It's amazing. Everybody check out Lights Out, available now in theaters, on digital, and on demand. We're back to finish up this show on the Roku channel. Mekhi Phifer, has there ever been a conversation about an 8 Mile sequel? Ever?
People have talked about it. I know they were talking about maybe doing a TV show. You know, I'm a little bit of a purist when something is classic, and I'm not just saying it because I'm in it, but I mean when something is that good, it's really hard to replicate or bring that same energy. I think it was the right place, the right time, the right movie, the right cast, and that's hard to mimic or. You know, I mean, I couldn't be in it, obviously, as, you know, I couldn't be a rapper, you know, could probably be somebody's dad or something. But yeah, you know, create another movie. It doesn't have to be 8 Mile 2. It can just be another movie with a, you know, somebody else's journey. You know,
so no 9 miles not happening.
9 miles, no, it doesn't translate the same.
I don't know. We kind of saw a little bit of a sequel when Eminem showed up on the road with the Lions. You know, flipping the bird at the fans. In San Francisco. That was great. Okay, well, we'll put that one to bed. Thanks for coming on, Mekhi Phifer.
Nah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for
Let's do
having
this
me.
again.
I really
We will
appreciate
see
it.
everybody on Wednesday. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.